Hi guys, I'm so glad you clicked on today's video. My name is Zekhethelo. For all of those who do not know who I am, I'm an interior designer in South Africa and I shoot a lot of content all about interior design where we go on site, and then I have also some videos where I explain a few concepts in interior design. So this week's video is going to be exactly that. I have had a lot of you guys DMing me, asking me a bunch of questions. A lot of you guys have been students who've asked me. I've also had people who are wanting to change their careers, which is very scary but exciting. I have been asked a few of the same questions and I just decided, you know what, it's just better for me to address what was quite common in all the questions, and hopefully you guys will be able to find an answer that you've been looking for more direction into what you want to go into. I hope this video can be a great source of information for you. Oh, and if you guys happen to be new on my channel, please subscribe and share my video to whomever you think would enjoy this content. So without further ado, let's begin this week's video. Okay, so I have my laptop in front of me, so don't mind me if I keep looking down at my screen. So the most common question that I receive from you guys is, where can I study and where did I study? What subjects did I take in high school? Was maths core essential? And did I have to have a technical drawings kind of background before entering varsity? And then this question came from many people who are deciding on changing either their degree or their careers, and it's what should I consider before taking the plunge? And lastly, this question was very interesting. It was, what is it like being an interior designer in South Africa? And what are the salary ranges like? So yeah, I definitely think I'm going to tackle that question on its own. It definitely deserves its own video, so stay tuned to my channel to see when I upload that video. So before we get into answering these questions, I think it'll be very worth your while, if you haven't already, to watch my video where I differentiate and define what an interior architect is, what an interior designer is, and what an interior decorator is, and as well as the requirements you would need if you wanted to pursue this as a career. So I'm going to start off with the second question, and that is, what subjects did I take in high school, and if maths core is essential, and do I need a technical drawing background? What I studied in high school was science, bio, French, and yes, I did do maths core. These subjects are all just because I wasn't sure of what I wanted to do at grade 9, I think we need to choose. I just wanted to choose subjects that allowed me to choose any industry. Okay, so is maths core necessary to study interior design? I'm just going to use interior design because I feel like that's like the middle ground for a lot of people. Decorating, I'm sure you can get into any institution with just maths lit, but I'm just going to basically speak about interior design. From my knowledge, there are a few institutions that do require you to have maths core. However, there are some that accept you if you have maths lit. If you're doing a degree, I definitely think you might need maths core, whereas if you're doing a diploma, maths lit should be okay. But again, do your research, check online what each institution requires of you. And then in terms of technical drawing experience, I mean, I didn't go to a high school that gave us what was the subject called that like the guys all did. I can't even remember what that subject is called, but where they did basically drafting. So I went to a school that was very traditional. They did not have a technical drafting subject. So I had zero technical skills going into studying this degree. I also, funny enough, didn't do art. And I know that a lot of places do require art. However, some places do offer like a bridging course if you didn't do art, so that you can kind of be comfortable with your drawing skills, and they can also assess if you can draw. Oh, and not to worry you about like the drawing or bridging course, it's really chilled. Like you don't have to be a Picasso or a Michelangelo to get in. They just, yeah, it's just basically equipping you with the skill sets and the tools in order for you to survive the interior design degree or diploma. Okay, so I'm going to jump back to the first question. What should I be considering? Where can I study, and where did I study? I'm like bunching these all together because these questions go hand in hand with each other. They basically influence what your end objective is or goal is in studying interior design. So I've come up with 3 questions that I think you should ask yourself before considering studying interior design or pursuing it if you are changing careers, just so that you know exactly if what you envision as your end goal aligns with where or what you are studying. These are the 3 questions I've come up with. Do I want to control the entire project from inception to completion? Question 2 is, do I want to focus mainly on the internal functionality and aesthetics of a space or building? And then the last question is, do I simply want to come in at the end of a project and style and decorate? So the questions might seem quite obvious, and they are kind of broken up into the video I have shot about the 3 different design spheres. If you answered yes to the first question, then I would consider you studying interior architecture or interior design, because this will give you more control of the entire project internally and parts of the external. So if you are thinking that your end goal in studying interior design or interior architecture is to flip properties, for instance, whether it be small standalone houses or apartment blocks, then you would definitely need quite a large or vast technical background. So I would highly recommend interior architecture or architecture as well on top of doing interior design. Then if you answered yes to the second question, do I want to focus mainly on the internal functionality and the aesthetics of a space or building, then I would recommend simply just studying interior design. That covers basically an internal shell of any building you can think of. And interior design is also like a very nice happy medium, because you have a lot of control, pretty much have all control of the internal, just the external, obviously, because we don't have that technical knowledge that architects do. So we don't really venture outside. We sometimes do, but it's very rare. And then if you answered yes to the last question, do I simply want to come in at the end of a project and style and decorate, then you should consider studying interior decorating. So once you've established what your objective is and in which direction you are wanting to go into, we're going to dive deeply into other things that you really should consider before jumping into studying interior design. These things will influence where you study and potentially where you will work one day. So you need to consider if you are a designer who wants to be more technical and detail orientated, or if you're a designer who is more conceptual and design orientated. So what you can ask yourself is, are you the type of person who loves high quality details? Do you enjoy problem solving? Are you constantly putting things apart in your head and trying to figure out how things work? Then I would say you're more technically inclined. However, if you are a person who just simply loves beautiful spaces, you just have an eye for beautiful things, and you're a person who enjoys conceptual thinking and coming up with new kind of design ideas, then I would definitely say you would be a person who would prefer design work. However, you could also just enjoy doing both. I, for one, enjoy doing both. And if you are that kind of person, that also means that you do get to control as much of the work as possible. If you are technically strong and you're good at detailing, but you're also really good at conceptualizing, coming up with ideas, that means that you will take control of the project in its entirety. Okay, so once you've asked yourself those further questions, and if you still have absolutely no clue what I'm talking about or in what direction you might want to head in, then I think the safest bet is to go to an institution that provides you both technical skills and the conceptual thinking and design brain. So here comes in where I studied. I studied at Inscape in Cape Town, and I was like maybe some of you who had no idea what interior design entailed. Like I had a very preconceived and wrong idea of interior design. It's like completely different to what I had envisioned, and I'll definitely touch on that in another video. But yeah, I wasn't sure at all what it meant and what interior designers do. And so I am lucky that I chose to study at Inscape because they are very technically focused and detail orientated, but they do also balance it out with design thinking and conceptualizing. However, I think the weighting is a little bit more technical. I'd say maybe 60% more technical than design orientated. However, there are some colleges that I know of, like BHC and Design Time. These are all in Cape Town because I was in Cape Town, so I was familiar with a few places there. Those two colleges that I've just mentioned, they are more design and conceptually focused. I just think I made up a word right now. I'm so sorry. But they are more design focused and conceptual thinking focused. So if you think you're in that zone, I would recommend going there. I do know someone who went to Design Time and they had nothing but good things to report back about that place. But again, do your research on the different institutions that are available in South Africa. There are quite a few. With regards to Inscape, there's an Inscape in Cape Town. There's one in Durban, if I'm not mistaken. Hopefully it hasn't shut down because of COVID. And there should be one in Joburg. So at least in all three major cities, hopefully you can find an institution that will suit you. Now I'm rambling, so I'm going to move forward. So basically what I'm trying to say is if you aren't sure whether you are a technical designer or if you want to be more of a conceptual designer, I would highly recommend studying at a college that caters to both, so that you don't box yourself into one niche and then later on discover that that's not really where your passion lies. And even after studying, which was my case, I still didn't know if I wanted to, or I didn't even know how the working environment was set up. So I didn't know that, there were people who solely did the technical and the details of design, and then there were people who focus on actual design work. But I'm going to go into that in this next little section. The reason why I have broken it up into details and technical and design and conceptual is because that is basically how most firms operate in, I don't want to say in South Africa because I could be lying, but that's what I've seen from my experience of firms in South Africa. That is how they operate. Okay, so each firm operates slightly differently, of course, but I feel like those two are the fundamentals. They'll always have a technical team and a design team. This is just like a basic delineation in a working environment if you are in architecture or interior design. So I'm going to give an example from my own work experience. When I did in-service training in my third year, I did it at a interior design firm, and it was just a firm made up of different interior designers. And this firm didn't just break it into technical designer, conceptual designer. They actually broke it down even further into, I think, 3 or 4 categories. And I couldn't remember what the 4th one is, but I remembered the 3. This was like 6 years ago, so that's why I can't remember so well. So the 3 teams that I remember, team 1 would be your conceptualizers. They would get the brief from the client, they would do all the design thinking, and they basically informed what the design would look like. The second team would be your detailers. Now, these guys would take the conceptualizers team's work and do a bit more of investigation in terms of detailing, and they basically translate what they were given into detailed drawings that are buildable for the contractor. And then the last team I could remember were the procurers, and basically they were responsible for pulling together the materiality board, sourcing different materials, sourcing fabrics and furniture, and also doing all the furniture installation. So basically in this firm, they had really broken up every single team to do exactly those tasks. Like, it was very rare that you would move up or down or in between and around. Everyone kind of stuck to where they were posted. And I quickly realized in the 6 weeks that I was there that I didn't want to be in an office or in a firm that didn't allow me to explore different avenues of design. Like I said, I had no idea what I wanted to do or where I wanted my focus to be, but I definitely knew that I didn't want to be boxed into one avenue and just stay there. I really wanted to give myself an opportunity to explore what else, or to explore interior design in its entirety. So that's the advice that I could give you guys, is definitely go for a firm that allows you or gives you the opportunity to explore the technical and the design side, so you can get a real life idea for what to expect. And especially if you do have the opportunity to do in-service training, definitely go for a place like that. Okay, so like I've just mentioned, I didn't enjoy that firm, that interior design firm. Like, they were amazing people, they did amazing things. I just didn't enjoy the boxing situation. So after I graduated, I decided to apply to architectural firms because I really just wanted to explore all my options. I wasn't sure whether or not I wanted to be just a conceptualizer and, oh wait, I'm using this hand to refer to it. I need to keep it the same. So yeah, I wasn't sure if I wanted to be just a conceptualizer, or if I just want to do the details, or if I just wanted to procure fabrics and materials and do more like the admin-y kind of stuff. So yeah, I really gave myself the opportunity to learn from architects who are anyways more technically able than I was as a interior designer, and learn from the people in the office who were categorized as the design team anyways. And that's the nice thing about working for architects or working in an architectural firm, is as much as they also break it down into the two, you do have an opportunity to work in both spheres and figure out whether you are strictly design or whether you're strictly drafting, detailing. And there are a few of us who enjoy the two, so you get to do it all, which is great. I honestly think that was the best decision for me because it made me realize that I actually enjoy both. So basically that wraps everything up. I hope I've covered everything and I hope it makes sense. It is so difficult to try and explain to someone what an interior designer does. It's difficult to explain how it works in the real world because it's such an intricate thing. Like, design is so multifaceted, it's so complex. It's very difficult to explain. So I hope I have given it some kind of justice, and I hope it makes sense. And if this means you guys have even more questions, don't be shy. Like, ask me any questions, ask me as many questions as possible. I also find it difficult to explain because I'm in the career, so I might assume that you guys know certain things because I'm so used to design. So if I've missed something, or if you want clarity on something else, please ask me in the comment section. I know there are quite a few designers who also watch my page. If you guys have any piece of advice for someone who is looking to study interior design as a degree, like, what advice could you give them in terms of like what should they consider before studying interior design? And even people who are wanting to change and take the plunge and change careers, like what should they consider as well? So yeah, that's it guys for this week's video. Thank you so much for clicking and watching. If you've made it this far, thank you so much for making it this far. If you like this video guys, please don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you haven't subscribed, please definitely press the subscribe button below and turn on your notifications. And I'll see you guys next week, Monday. Bye.